So my presentation is going to be on prostate cancer. I chose this subject to talk about because I actually lost my father about 18 years ago to prostate cancer. So I was directly affected by it through losing my father, and actually saw a lot of the process that happened. It was very sad and devastating. So that's why I chose prostate cancer. So about prostate cancer, in general, cancer is when cells in the body begin to grow out of control. Here you see a picture of the area where the prostate is located. It's about the size of a walnut. As you can see here, the bladder brings urine through the urethra, through the prostate, as well as the seminal vesicles, which produce semen. Most prostate cancers, if not all, almost all of them, are adenocarcinomas, which is a cancer that forms in mucus-secreting glands. And once again, as you can see, semen is produced in the prostate. So, causes, risk factors, and prevention. Some of the biggest risk factors I know are, let's start with number one, is age. After the age of 50, your cancer for men getting prostate cancer significantly increases, and then after 65, you can see there that 6 in 10 cases are found in men older than 65. Race and ethnicity. This is based off USA statistics, and I'm actually using everything. This whole presentation, besides the last slide, comes from the American Cancer Journal. That's where I'm citing everything from. But as far as race and ethnicity, African American men develop prostate cancer most often in the USA. Asian and Hispanic men do not get prostate cancer as much as non-Hispanic whites. The reasons are not clear. And a lot of the data on here hasn't been completely come to being a fact. A lot of this stuff is still being studied. Just for a note on most of the stuff that we're talking about. Family history, I thought was interesting, is that even though somebody in your family may have genetically, had prostate cancer, it says most prostate cancer occurs in men without a family history of it, which I thought was interesting. So even though, your father, like for my instance, my case, if my father had it, doesn't necessarily mean that I will inherit it from him. Diet, this goes with a lot of cancer studies. People with poor diet, a lot of times are more likely to get any kind of cancer. But in specific with prostate cancer, it says a lot of dairy products in studies have shown to give you a greater chance of getting prostate cancer. And calcium plays a role in that. For some reason, I guess with dairy products, there's quite a lot of calcium in that, so that seems to increase the risk. Obesity, once again, not exercising, not taking care of your diet. Smoking doesn't show any specific ties to prostate cancer. And you can see there's other possible risk factors I put there as well. Prevention, once again, going back to trying to have a good diet, regular exercise routine. In prostate cancer in particular, less dairy intake, with that calcium we talked about being something that might be related. Good things, though, is that if you take vitamin E and selenium supplements, these have been shown to slightly lower the risk of prostate cancer. Soy and isoflavonoids have also shown some positive effects. Causes. So we're not too sure. Studies have shown they're not too sure exactly. It may not only be inherited. It may not only be the risk factors, but nothing's been really shown yet with that. And also, research has shown that acquired gene mutations can also promote and influence prostate cancer development. So, basically, over time, you may not inherit it, but you can have some mutations within your cells and within your genes that can start to promote and influence the prostate cancer development. Early detection is very important. In my dad's case, I know that he didn't find out till I think he was about midway through the cancer itself. But now, because prostate cancer is so prevalent in the United States, men usually after the age of 40 or so, when the risk levels start to raise as far as age is concerned, doctors are usually asking them to take, we'll get to it, but like a PSA test is one of the things. So that's right here. You can see screen testing from your doctor. Blood tests would include the PSA, which is the prostate-specific antigen test. Higher PSA levels in these readings from the blood can show that the prostate cancer may be developing. In a normal healthy man, a PSA level is about 4, whereas you see with a man with a little over 10 of a PSA reading, a 50% chance of having prostate cancer from that blood test. If the PSA is high, then other tests would be performed, and ultimately, usually a prostate biopsy, which is the last bullet point there for early detection, is where they actually go in there surgically. They use microsurgery. They don't go in there with a big knife. They go in there with a small incision, and they use a telescopic device to take a small sample of the prostate and then take that to the lab to see if there's any cancer found basically within the sample. But there are other tests a doctor can do. Other than the digital rectal exam, that's the one that is feared by many men. Basically, it's the famous one where the doctor snaps his gloves on, his plastic gloves, and says, bend over, it's time for your prostate exam. And then lastly, there are also MRIs they can do on that area to see if there's any cancer developing. So early detection is very important. Very important. May have saved my father's life. I know that if he didn't, if he had gone earlier and got it detected. So now later on, if you don't get it screened early, and you may have to have symptoms. And as you can see here, the symptoms here in the advanced prostate cancer section of this slide are problems urinating, blood in the urine or semen, trouble getting an erection, pain in the hips, back, spine, chest, and weakness in lower extremities, loss of bladder control, and so on. So there are treatment options. The good thing about prostate cancer is that it's been researched for a long time, and because it's such a common thing within men, that there's a lot of different treatment options that have been developed over time. As you can see, there's numerous ones there. I'm not going to read them all off, but you can see all the different type of treatment options. Pretty self-explanatory, some of them, and I'm sure you've heard of many of them. The experts that are involved in this, basically, administering these different treatment options, as well as advising you them. The experts that would help you are the urologist, radiation oncologist, and a medical oncologist. Now, these different treatments really depend on, at the bottom of the screen there, you can see the path of treatment is dependent on many different factors. Where you are in the stage of the cancer. Is it early? Is it late in the cancer? The grade of your cancer, the severity, has it spread from the prostate out to different areas? Your age, sometimes if it's something not aggressive and you're already, quite old, there's actually been studies that I read about on prostate cancer where you won't die of prostate cancer. Nothing really need to do. Your life expectancy will outlive you dying from cancer because it's not aggressive. There's different forms of prostate cancer. Sometimes they're aggressive, sometimes not as aggressive. So those are different factors that will kind of guide you to whichever treatment option that is going to you're going to end up choosing. So at the end here, I just wanted to basically kind of sum it up, that what I thought was very interesting out of all of this is that even the 1 in every 9 U.S. men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. It's a very high rate at some point in their lives. The 5-year survival rate of men diagnosed is 99%, and this is cited from the Prostate Cancer Foundation. As you can see the graph there, there's been significant progress with all the different, like the screen before, treatment options. Um, there's a lot of different options now for men to get treated and survive and live. So I think for me, once going back to my own situation with my dad, what I learned from it is that really after the age of 40, which I am now, is for that yearly test, go in there, be open with your doctor about getting the blood test, the PSA testing, because that's generally what they'll do. From my experience, is they're not doing the actual, the once again that the rubber glove yet. That's when you get a little older, so you don't have to worry about that yet if you're a man. If you don't want to do that, it's uncomfortable. But they do a blood test, and the PSA is a pretty good gauge of the if how your PSA levels are. You started that. If you're doing it once a year, that's good. Obviously, if you have any symptoms, you don't want to let those go. You want to make sure that you talk to your doctor about those things. And if you do those things, you do the once a year, you're doing the blood test, you're making sure you're keeping track of any symptoms that may occur, you're doing all the risk factor things, which are, controlling your diet as far as being positive about it. Once again, not too much dairy and too much calcium, but you still have to have enough for the benefits that come through those things. Try to stay relatively active with exercise, and those type of things. Those things help. Those things help. As you can see here, if you're diagnosed and it doesn't go under the radar, then you have a 99% chance of living. That's what statistics say. So that would be my main takeaway and I hope everybody takes away as well, especially you guys out there, is make sure you're doing the right things on a daily basis, as well as seeing the doctor once a year and being open about these things, and you should be okay. And that's my presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it.